All right, so this is my third time doing this, and it's something that I've been thinking about, especially as I tried my series with building web applications that sometimes are a little bit more complex and that can deploy. I'm trying to figure out the way to do it. I want those lovable moments where it just does it and I'm happy and done. But I also know the complexity I want sometimes is too much for things. So this isn't for every application. This is for some. And so let's think for a moment. We're going to talk about an application like eBay. Now, we're going to talk about interfaces, user interfaces. So you have your interface for the anonymous user, you have your interface for the buyer, you have your interface for the seller, and you have your interface for the admin type people. So technically, or whatever, that's 4 interfaces. And what happens is we build this into one GitHub repo, and AI context just loses it. It's too much to take in. It breaks things. It doesn't understand where things are. Now it gets there. Like in a year, none of this could matter. It just could crush it. I don't know. But right now, I struggle a lot. Now, with this particular information here, and I wish the text was a little bigger, you got Supabase, and it's running. I'm realizing now Supabase, and this has nothing to do with AI. Supabase has been around for a little bit now. And you can see that, and let me center that. And you can see with Supabase, we have authentication, we have events, we have webhooks, we have storage. We have this thing that's smarter than a database. It's Postgres and all its awesomeness, but in a way that even has a nice UI. And that nice UI matters too, because that empowers people to get things done who aren't developers. And to bring all of this to one application is part of what I'm trying to show here. With everything in Supabase like this, we can now do this. We can have that admin UI in its own repository. We can have that buyer UI in its own GitHub repository. We can have the migration, sorry, I'll cover that in a moment. We can have the seller UI in its own repository. Now, this might seem like more work. This might seem like single page applications, but these have state, they have their own complexity, but they're there. And they allow the person, the developer, and the AI to work in that context, with less context, and hopefully more easy to deploy, more easy to keep from breaking things. Now, on that note, we then bring in N8N or Activepieces. So now we have another thing driving all of these connecting points. Now, that N8N could be the APIs, the listeners to webhooks. You even have those moments where some of these applications are using Stripe, and it's doing the same thing where you don't manage Stripe's code, you manage interacting with Stripe. So it's the same idea of building these separately. Now, this goes beyond microservices because you still have this idea of a hub, and you still have this idea of a central place to see what's going on, to track events and issues. Now, one thing that can tie these together is a migration repo. So this repo using Drizzle or Prisma or Supabase command line, if I could get it to work with self-hosted Supabase, becomes a place we track all the changes in the database. Again, making it deployable. So, this is one way to take advantage of AI to try and build applications that can have more features without breaking, because AI might get confused. Now, there's a lot going on, MCPs, context, rules, things like that to help maybe solve this problem. But right now, this is something I've been thinking about to help move forward with some application stuff. Is this overcomplicating things? I come from a Laravel background. It can do all this, but it really can't, okay? Laravel takes advantage of Pusher or other services for WebSockets. Laravel doesn't really deal with storage. It makes you use a different system, but it plugs into it. In authentication, you have to put it in, and when you do, you might not be able to pull off a lot of the interconnectivity that we get here. I just want to interject there really quickly and say one other thing I forgot to mention was logging in centralized sense of what's going on. And when you go into the logs into the hub of Supabase, or you go into your N8N Activepieces instance, you get that. And that's another big win from this, is you have a lot going on, but you have the center of knowing what's working, what's not, and how to fix it. But let me step back for a moment. My point is, I don't know if this is easier or harder. I think it just has, it starts getting us going in the AI direction now. I don't think you want to keep building now in a way that you're going to be hit hard from behind. Like, wind to your back when you're running is different than wind to your back when you're standing still. And if you're standing still right now, things are changing and going to get easier and better, then you really want to be going with the momentum, learning what that means in moving in that direction. I do know I have Laravel applications that bringing a developer on can be hard. Code inconsistency, code size, where's this little window I want to edit? This does eliminate a lot of that. And then we put a lot of devs now into N8N so they can just get going. All right, thank you.